Welcome to Friendly Frequencies, a podcast that will revolutionize your journey to greatness. My name is Carmen MacLeod. I am traveling the world as an artist, tour guide, and life coach, documenting the powerful lessons that I learn about myself and what it takes to live a life of true happiness and freedom. Living outside the bounds of my comfort zone has brought me more joy and abundance than I ever could have imagined, and I aim to push you a bit further out of your comfort zone with each episode. Thank you for joining me on this journey of transcendent transformation. Wow. Hello. I'm back. So if this is your first time listening, welcome. Welcome to the Friendly Frequencies podcast. This is a very special episode for me because this is not my first episode, actually, though it is number 1 on my episodes. This is probably my 45th or something episode that I'm recording, but what happened was, well, I'll get into the story. But first things first, welcome back. This podcast has been going on for the last year or so. However, it's been taken away off of all the platforms, and I've redeveloped it from the beginning. And I'm reposting all the old episodes, so you will still get to see the whole journey from when I started. But it's here. I'm back. So I'm so happy to be recording this right now. So welcome. And if you are somebody who used to listen when it was up, and if you've been waiting for it to come back, thank you for being back with me. Thank you for supporting me the whole time. And thank you for your patience while I figure this all out. So in this episode, I'm going to set the tone. So my intention for this episode, I like to set an intention before every episode, which I don't start doing until later in the episodes. You'll start to hear it in the later ones, the more recent ones. So my intention for this episode is, one, to update you on everything, not everything that's happened over the last 3 months, because it's a lot, but I will give you a keynotes version or a summary of what's happened over the last 3 months. I'll give you some very exciting news that's going on in my life, and I'll tell you the reason why I am actually leaving the Philippines in 2 days. And I will give you I'll explain why the podcast was taken away, what I learned from that situation. But my intention really is to just set the tone for the rest of this podcast. To set a powerful, compelling tone so that you can understand what is going to come. And I'm just so grateful, first of all. So grateful to have this podcast back. This is my baby that I've been raising the last year, and it's more than a year now, and I'm just so grateful to have it, and even more than I ever was. So sometimes you need to lose something to really, really know how much you appreciated it, and that's my situation here. This has also given me a chance to look back at my old episodes, and I love to hear how my tone has changed, my intention has changed behind the episodes, and it's just continued to evolve, not only the podcast, but me, especially me. I've evolved immensely over the last 14 months that I've been traveling, or 15, I'm not even sure at this point, and you can see it clearly. It reflects in the podcast episodes. So it's just kind of interesting if you listen to this episode and then you go and listen to episode 2, which is really episode 1 that I created over a year ago. It sounds like a different person, and I feel it is a different person completely. I'm not the same person that I was when I created this podcast, and it's still going, and it's getting better every time. So let's get into it. I'm going to keep this as short as I possibly can, which is still going to be quite a long time, I already know. But I'm going to first let you know, just give you an update about what happened with the podcast very quickly. I've been away for the last 3 months because it was deleted. So I've been working on it ever since, basically. But it was deleted off of everything and it was completely my fault. I allowed my debit card to expire while I'm living in the Philippines. So for those of you who don't know, I've been living in the Philippines for now 9 months, and I and I've been traveling for about 14 months. And I let my card expire, knowing it was going to expire, but I still just pushed it back, didn't deal with it, and knowing that it was probably going to cause me some problems, not knowing that this would happen, of course. But after waiting for a month and a half for my new card to come in the mail from Canada to the Philippines, within that month, because I was inactive on my platform, my podcasting platform, for a month, their system automatically deletes everything. So I did not tell them that I didn't have my card. I just figured that everything would stay the way it is. Didn't receive anything from them, once I emailed them saying I can't log in, they let me know that this is what happened, and I, of course, it's completely my fault. I let the card expire to begin with. I didn't reach out to them letting them know that I would be back, and so what I learned there is if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And I've learned this lesson plenty of times while traveling and throughout my life. It continues to be and I laugh at myself because it continues to be a bit of a struggle for me. It's something that I have, we like to say in the Philippines, bahala na mindset. I'm too bahala na, meaning whatever happens, happens. So sometimes I'm too bahala na, and that's just, it's definitely bit me in the ass a few times, and this one was a big one. And I knew, though, even in that moment, I was actually on a tour as well, because I'm a tour guide here, and when I was on the tour, but it was like 2 a.m. when I received this email, and I had just gotten home from a long day, long night of, all of the things, and then I received it, and I just started uncontrollably crying, of course, and felt like this really big sense of grief, which I don't feel often. I've only felt grief like once when my dog died. Or I guess like in breakups you feel grief too, yes. I've felt grief before, but not often. And this one felt like really a sense of loss. Like I really lost something that was so valuable and important to me. And even in that moment, though, I was still thanking God. I was praying to God saying, thank you. I know this is for a reason. And I still know it's for a reason. I know that this relaunch is a whole new Carmen. It's a new Friendly Frequencies. There's more energy behind it. It's just whatever the outcome is, and I don't actually know what is the reason for this happening. I just know that there's a reason, and that's just how I live my life. The reason that I am resilient is because I'm always, even in the moment of failure, in the moment of any dark time, I'm always able to trust that everything is working out in my favor no matter what it looks like right now. And at the same time, I'm always sitting in gratitude. I'm always grateful. For me, in this moment, I was also just so grateful that I even have a podcast to lose, that I have an audience to disappoint. Like, I'm not focused now. Of course, I was focused on. It was not so easy that I could just snap out of it and be totally okay. No, I was heartbroken, but I was trusting that this was a part of the plan, part of the process. And it made me more resilient, and so I'm grateful for this process. So it also gave me a chance to take responsibility for everything. So I take full responsibility for everything in my life. I'm creating the life of my dreams. That's up to me completely. And when things go wrong, that's also up to me. So it was up to me to put myself in that situation. Now, of course, I'm not intentionally choosing all of these things to happen. Nobody would do that to themselves on purpose. But whatever the reason is, I'm going to take responsibility for it. one, I easily can take responsibility for this because it was my fault and I can clearly see it. But even in situations where it doesn't seem at all like you had any control, still being able to take responsibility means that you don't have to blame yourself for what happened, but you are responsible for how you respond. So there's two parts of it. It does take a lot to be able to say that this happened because of me. But the most important thing, regardless of what caused it, because that's the past, that's already happened, who cares? Regardless of that, how are you going to respond? Because that's now the present and the future. How am I responding right now? How am I planning to respond going forward? And that's 100% up to you. That's up to me. Up to me in my life. It's up to you in your life. So this gave me a chance to practice that. And I've been taking full responsibility. Anytime somebody asks me what happened to the podcast, and it's all the time, I'm always saying, I fucked up. That's my first thing I say. I fucked up. and it's like, kind of just like lightened it a bit. At first, the first people to ask me were my guests on that tour about my podcast and just asking about it to know more about it. And I started bursting out crying in front of them, and it was very embarrassing. But at that point, of course, I couldn't talk about it without crying. Now it's just another stepping stone that I had to get to this level of success, to get me to the level of success that I'm looking forward to. So this is just another stair to climb. And so that's what I've learned from this process. And I welcome all of it, all of the feelings. My new mantra lately has been all feelings are welcome, because as I will share a little bit more, actually a lot more in coming episodes, but a little bit more on this one, it's just I've had a lot of experiences that I've definitely deepened my emotional variety. I don't know what I should say around that, or what words I should use, but my spectrum of emotions is far greater than it was before, and the extent to which I can feel an emotion is much deeper, and I'm welcoming all of them. And some would say, oh, this is a bad emotion, a good emotion, negative, positive, but they're all just emotions, and I think they're all beautiful, and I'm welcoming all of them. That's my new mantra. All feelings are welcome. So I'll get more into that as well. But anyways, this whole experience was welcomed, and it was not easy, but I'm happy to be back. So some more things that have happened in my life. Well, recently I traded a mural for a tattoo, which is really exciting because I've been wanting this tattoo for over a year. Back when I was living in Cambodia at my friend Jay's place, he was going to tattoo this design all over my leg, and it was going to be kind of like a leg sleeve. And then we didn't end up doing it. What I had on my mind for the last year, and I always said to myself, you're going to trade this for a mural. You're going to get this tattoo and you're not going to pay a dime for it. You're just going to paint a mural for somebody. And it's exactly what happened. And the full circle moment of it also was that Jay actually came to visit me here in the Philippines, and he brought his tattoo stuff. So he met this tattoo artist, and he ended up kind of setting up the deal for me. So he was like, hey, yeah, I asked the guy and he would love to do the trade with you. And so it's so funny, he was supposed to do my tattoo a year ago, and then he ended up setting it up for that somebody else could do it, which I think is really amazing. So that's kind of a fun thing. My whole body now is tattooed basically, and I'm in love with it, with the body and the tattoo and everything that is surrounding it. And what else is going on in my life? So speaking of Jay and I are going to India in 2 days. So we just decided we're gonna get up and leave. For me, the story of this goes on a little bit longer about why I'm actually leaving the Philippines, and it's not because of India. Actually, I was going to India because I had what I thought was going to be 4 months off of tour guiding. So I was going to come back in the end of September to continue tour guiding here in the Philippines for a few more months, and then I was going to go to New Zealand for Christmas and then spend 6 months or something there. That was always my plan, or at least that was the new plan after getting hired as the tour guide here, and because my plans are all constantly changing. But what's happened lately, and I'm so excited to share this with you, this is the most exciting news that I have, and it has completely changed the course of my life. So what's happened was I met the CEOs of the company I now work for. True Travels is the company I work for in the Philippines as the tour guide. And I met the CEO of the company, the CEO and the people who are running the company, and about, 2 months ago now, or something, maybe a month ago. And I heard that so a friend of mine who we work together, he told me that they are starting a new company and that I should be talking to them about, he said, this sounds like something you would be really interested in. They're starting a new tour company that's about personal development, mindset work. So it's for digital nomads, people who want to be digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and develop their mindset and live a life of freedom. And so yeah, it's like a seminar, mindset development workshop type tour in Thailand and in Bali, and I think then they're going to be opening up other countries as well. And my jaw hit the floor, of course, hearing that. And also my friend, bless him, had already talked to them about me because he knows that I'm very passionate about that stuff. So as soon as I met them, immediately I brought it up and I said, tell me more about this company you're starting. I need to know everything. And they told me everything, and or at least whatever, they began telling me about it, and right away I said, I'm your girl, I want to be involved. Tell me how if you need someone on the team, please let me know. And within that same day, actually, the CEO, he had invited me to Thailand. So he said, yeah, okay, come to Thailand, you can work with us, and we want you on the team. So I was completely starstruck, bouncing off the walls, but I also kept my expectations just kind of, okay, not letting myself get too excited just in that moment, because we were at a party when we met, so everyone, people were drinking. I was like, okay, well, let's just see how it goes tomorrow. I was going to spend the next few days with him because we were doing some staff things with True Travels, and so I thought, okay, I'll have more time to talk to them, and we'll just so that I can know for sure what's going on. And then we spent more time together, got to know each other, and I love what they're all about. They love what I'm all about, and it's like I didn't even have to really pitch myself at all. They just got to know my character through experiencing hanging out with me. And also they have, luckily, all of the reviews from me being a tour guide in the Philippines, so I have lots of good reviews there. So they got to see, okay, she's a great tour guide and she knows her things about personal development, and because I've been so passionate about this subject my whole life, it's like second nature to me. And so so I'm basically the first life coach type person that they've hired onto their team. I don't really know what to call the role. We're still trying to figure it out, actually, but I call it a life coach. And also I'm going to be actually life coaching. So so you know what? I'm giving you actually a lot of information right now, and I don't think I ever actually planned to give you this full information about what's coming up on my end of things. So that's my new company I'm working for. So I'm going to be going and moving to Thailand, living there for about a year. I'm going to be traveling to Bali to train people there, I believe, and training people in Thailand to do the job that I'm doing. So developing people's mindsets and just having it be like a beautiful networking, personal development group. And then people who want to stay in Koh Phangan in Thailand can stay there and live in the same area as us and be digital nomads with us and create the life of their dreams with us. So that's crazy exciting, and I don't think anything like this has been done before. I've never heard of any tour company like this, so I think it's pretty revolutionary, and the fact that I'm one of the first people that they've brought onto the team with them is insane. So anyways, that's one part. So I call myself the life coach on that tour because I don't know what else to call it, but I actually am becoming a life coach on my own. So this is the first time I'm announcing this publicly, but I've been working with my own life coach. His name's Matthew, and he and I have been working together for we've known each other for a while now. Actually, he's been on the podcast before, so you can hear his episode. His name's Matthew Finlan, and he's now my life coach, and I'm in his program, and he's training me basically to become a life coach myself and to develop my own programs. And so my career is really taking a hard shift from artist, hard shift to tour guiding, hard shift to life coaching, this was almost the end goal. But it's not the end goal. There's plenty more goals that I have, and I'm going to take this much higher, much bigger. But I did not expect myself to be life coaching at this age. I expected a lot more. I expected tour guiding for a lot longer, and this is still going to be a bit tour guiding. However, we have an actual tour guide, like a Thai tour guide on the tours, a local tour guide, and then I'm life coaching. So it's not like I'm actually the tour guide. I'm just there specifically to empower people and to deal with that part of it, which is the part that I want to do, not the tour guiding part. So anyways, it's still very surreal. The way that these opportunities are being presented to me, it's very surreal. And I believe it's just because I'm continuously getting out of my comfort zone, continuously taking risks. I mention this all the time because this is the key. I believe this is the key. And I also believe that I'm clear on my vision. Actually, I know I'm clear on my vision. I am a transcendent, powerful, generous leader traveling and changing the world with my vibration of love. This is my vision. This has been my vision statement for a while now, probably 8 or 9 months now. When I was taking the leadership course, the leadership training, we set a vision for our life, and I've made an episode about this as well. But we each made a vision statement for our lives. And one day after making mine, I met True Travels. I met the people of True Travels. Actually, I ended up meeting the guy who I was just talking about, who told me about this new job opportunity and kind of connected us. But that's when I met him. So really, this man, shout out to Chris, you changed my life. I love you. But that's when I met him. And he and the other tour guide, they both supported, they both kind of brought the idea of us being tour guides, us meaning Gemma and I, my best friend out here in the Philippines. Her and I both got hired, and so I believe this came to us because I set this vision for my life. It was the next day, and then I've been consistently staying focused on this vision. Every day I say this vision to myself. It's an affirmation that I have, but it's truly a belief, and I'm already living the vision, and there's so much more to come. So because I'm so firmly believing this, right? Like I heard a quote that you don't get what you don't get what you expect, you get what you believe. Or what was it? No, sorry. You don't get what you deserve. I'm mixing up two quotes right now. But anyways, someone said that you get what you believe. And yeah, it's true. I believe and I expect. Yeah, because there's another quote that says you don't get what you deserve, you get what you expect. I also believe that. So what I expect and what I believe are the same thing. That everything's working out in my favor, that I am a transcendent, powerful, generous leader, all of these things. I truly believe it to my core. And that's why everything is opening up so beautifully for me. And I really want to share this with everybody. I want everybody to tap into this powerful place that I have gotten a chance to tap into, because everything grows from this powerful, powerful place inside of me, and it's inside everybody. Everybody has this, and not everybody has tapped into it. So how can I help other people tap into their power, that's why I'm here. I know that's why I'm here. That's my dharma. So I'm so lucky and grateful that I get a platform to do this, and I'm taking it to the next level with just with more options. So the podcast is always going to be here. That's going to be my free thing. I'll have maybe one other free thing to do, and then there's going to be other things that will cost money, and you can just decide like what level you want to get to. And then if you want to be one-on-one coached by me, then you can do that too. So I'll have more information about this, but this is my first time I'm mentioning this to the public. And so that's my crazy life update. And you know what, I haven't even scratched the surface of what's happened over the last 3 months. That's kind of more about what's happening in the future. That's all future plans. Okay, I haven't even told you what's happened over the last few months that I've been away. I've done a lot of tours. I don't need to talk too much about those. I've learned lots through each of them. I think I'll talk more about what I learned over these tours. I'm going to do an episode on what I learned overall in the Philippines, and those tours were really a big part of my Philippines experience. And I'm not going to get into too much detail about any of this, but I guess I'll give you a few cliffhangers. Sure, let's do that. So and then I'll make like a legit episode on this. So first thing, I have a much better understanding of what love is. And this is a very new experience. Actually, this has been an ongoing experience in the Philippines. And I've like I've mentioned, I've been playing around with and testing out short-term relationships in my life, and that has been the most transformational thing I think I've ever experienced, because I didn't even know that was a thing before. And so I've only been single since I arrived in the Philippines, because I was dating my boyfriend before coming here. And so since being here, I've experienced a variety of relationships with other people, and powerful relationships, I must say. I can't even put into words what type of people these are, or what type of relationships these have been. Transcendent is all I can say. And in different ways, completely different relationships, different people, and it's insane. And I have lots to say on this, so I will make a whole episode on it. But I'm really starting to realize that maybe I never knew what love was, or maybe I still don't know what love is, but I think I'm starting to understand better. And I think with each relationship, I understand more what love is, what it feels like. I truly feel what it feels like to be loved. And I've always felt loved by those in my life. But just to have this different experience, these experiences being loved by different people, different types of people. I also learned how to hurt people. I've hurt people out here. And I see, again, I take full responsibility for what I've done. So I think the reason that I hurt other people, but I'm not the one getting hurt, is because I'm also taking responsibility. So nobody can hurt me without my permission. So because I'm very clear and intentional about what I'm doing going into these relationships, I'm not being hurt. Because I also know that no matter what they do, I'm not expecting anything from this person. I'm just enjoying the present moment right now with them. Nothing more. Now, it's of course hard to keep your monkey brain not thinking about all these different possibilities. Like, of course I'm doing that. I can't control it all the time. But I've practiced no expectations, and I've practiced that I'm the one that's in charge of how I react to situations. So, which is amazing. I'm glad I have that emotional intelligence, but I need to remember that I can still hurt other people because I don't know how they're going to respond to this situation. So I can get more into this later, but there's your cliffhanger for that. That's been an intense learning for me lately, like very, very recently actually, and just throughout my time in the Philippines. And honestly, this one is like an ongoing thing as well, kind of along the same lines, but my sexual awakening, I've never talked about it much on the podcast, but I've been so excited to. Like, this is something that I think that I've finally just deleted all of the shame, or at least most of the shame from my life around sex, and I've just developed into someone that I just never got to see before. I never got to experience this version of myself, and I don't even recognize her. Like, she's a butterfly, and it's just really exciting, and it's a continuous process. I'm definitely not transformed, but I'm transforming every day around this. I have so much to share. Like, on this subject, I have so much to share around relationships, around sex, dating. Like, these are, I think, a really powerful niche of mine that I'm going to be moving things into at some point once I get more data, more experience, but for now, I'm just going to be talking about anything and everything that is coming to me. So yeah, I'm going to, I have a lot of journals to read through and a lot of things that I want to get clear about as I continue to make episodes for you. I know that, and I'm also going to be making video episodes so that you can kind of see where I'm at when I'm making these podcasts. So that's exciting. And yeah, but after this one, I'm going to be just posting all of the last 40 or 45 episodes right away, so you can go ahead and listen or re-listen to those if you want. And then I will, from the end of that, I will just continue recording like I always have. And I'm just so excited that you're here and you're still listening to me, so thank you. And I think that that's all I have for you right now. So thank you for listening to my very first episode, wink wink. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be back. You ain't seen nothing yet, okay, from Friendly Frequencies. This is about to be huge, and I'm so happy to welcome you on board to it. So thank you for being here. Please share my episodes with everybody so that we can get my numbers way back up to where it was. Actually, no, we're gonna get the numbers way higher than it ever was. And yeah, please just help me spread the word about this, and let's do this thing. All right, I love you. Bye.